And joining us for more, Sebastian Contin, a geopolitics analyst at AsiaGlobal and fellow at the University of Hong Kong. Thanks for your time this morning. Firstly, some positive statements as both sides sort of set out their positions on day one. What's your main takeaway?
Thank you. First of all, good morning, and thank you very much for having me. Well, actually, those statements show that both parties, the European Union and China, they don't have a chance but to understand each other. And this summit is actually a chance to reshape the relationship because both sides need to change their perspectives and work together to address common challenges and some shared vulnerabilities, in particular the economy. Considering the current economic situation both entities are going through, it's crucial for them to recalibrate their strategies. And now was time for focusing on practical solutions rather than getting caught up in symbolic gestures or the historical debates. So yeah, more than ever, they need to deploy today the political capital with foresight. And let's see if these discussions lead up to more to agreements than to disagreements that unfortunately have been the concerning trend for the last couple of years.
China and Europe, they have very different views when it comes to Ukraine. Ursula von der Leyen saying she and Charles Michel have pressured China to use its influence on Russia to stop the war. How do these political differences impact talks? And do you think President Xi is going to listen?
Well, I think that he did when the war in Ukraine was having its first anniversary, its first unlucky anniversary. China proposed a ceasefire, a plan, and this was due to the pressure done by the European institutions and by the European leaders. So actually, is the most urgent priority for Europe is ensuring that China is involving itself in Ukraine, contributing to stability, because they can, and everyone knows that they can. We have seen in 2023 how this relationship between President Xi and Vladimir Putin was growing. They talk permanently about a friendship. They were showing up together in the last BRI summit with all the other leaders behind. So these messages clearly show that there is a special relationship, and Europe is just asking, okay, use that influence because we need to have peace in the continent. This is one of the this is in the top three of the problems that the European Union has, because you know that several countries used to belong historically to the Soviet Union, and they believe that after Ukraine is their turn. So there are, I come from Southern Europe. We don't have the same fear, but as a union, we have to act with solidarity. And right now, if the European Union has identified certain Chinese companies that are suspected to circumvent the European Union sanctions on Russia, and these products, dual-use products, the ones that can be used for commercial and military applications at the same time. Well, if you are somehow turning a blind eye when some companies are circumventing our sanctions and then they are making them ineffective, you have to help and you have to act.
Earlier in the year, the bloc spoke of de-risking from China, but European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was keen to clarify yesterday that the bloc is not looking to decouple from China. How do you interpret the difference?
Well, that's actually the main difference, because when it was von der Leyen who proposed the risking at the very beginning of 2023, and the idea was, okay, let's try to mitigate risks associated with strong vulnerabilities we have with certain superpowers. It's not only China, it's also the US. At the same time, this policy intends to send a message, okay, we are not trying to decouple like the United States was doing at the time. Then you know that the US were joining Europe in this the risking policy. So for Europe is a key policy, because right now, in order to build what is called the strategic priority, the strategic sovereignty, we need to reduce risks, diversify partnerships, adjust trade relationships, relocate operations for addressing all those imbalances in key sectors that depend very much on China, because China, with certain products, especially related to critical raw materials, green energies, digital transformation, they have a monopoly or an oligopoly. So there are certain areas where the risking is necessary for all these reasons. Taking into account, because in China there is a lot of complaints, but this is a policy that is being used by all the major superpowers. This is different. This sets apart from decoupling, which implies a more substantial disentanglement. So, of course, it's a key protectionist policy, a geopolitical tool, but it is not different from the ones that have been used by China or by the United States.
Sebastian, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time and your insight today. Sebastian Contin is geopolitics analyst, Asia Global Fellow at the University of Hong Kong.